Let me say that I am the one that's humbled to be here among such a great gathering of truly fine men. As I look around at the faces of you all, I see some of the finest people that I have met in my life. And I feel like the Spirit has led us all to be here together. So it's I that am humbled, and it's I that am proud to be here with you. I've been asked to speak tonight because it is important that we realize that the barbarisms committed against the Weaver family by the FBI and other federal agencies were not the first acts of domestic terrorism in this country by the government, nor will they be the last if we remain silent. We as Americans take for granted the right to live in our homes, free from fear, from violence, from enemies, foreign or domestic. But that is a right that you must zealously guard or lose. As some of us have already found out. In 1987, while on my honeymoon in Mexico, I was indicted for the crime of sedition, as you've been told, only the third time in this nation's history. Sedition is a crime of opposing the government, for which I am guilty. In 1987, the FBI printed wanted posters and placed me on the 10 most wanted list. You've got my wanted poster. I just took my picture off and took out their lies and put the truth on it. And so now, for the first time, it's serving a useful purpose. We're looking for real murderers, for real criminals, for real vile human beings. One night in Mexico, as my wife and daughter and I were coming home from the grocery store, we were met at our house by men dressed in plain clothes, just as most of you are dressed. In fact, some of them had T-shirts on. My wife had gone on in the house, and I had walked around to the rear of the car to remove the groceries. And all of a sudden, come walking out of the bushes towards my face are three men, one with a shotgun and two with pistols pointed at me, and they're walking right up to me. Now, just weeks before, in fact, the week previous, some Americans had been attacked and robbed by men wielding a shotgun with two partners. I assumed that that was what was happening because they said nothing. They just started walking towards me. Being an East Texas country boy and not having a weapon on me, I reached for my pocket knife. I don't drop my pocket knife neither. As I reached into my pocket, I was hit from behind and thrown to the ground, and a .45 placed in this left ear, this one here. And I was told that if I moved, I will be killed. My wife opens the door to receive the groceries from me and sees a man with a .45 in my ear. She slams the door, runs upstairs to the only pistol we had, a small sidearm, a 9mm pistol we kept beside the bed, and she starts back down the stairway. A man is coming up the stairway dressed in a T-shirt and carrying a shotgun. She had on a full dress, and she had the pistol behind her dress where it couldn't be seen, and she said, "Who are you?" And he said, "Come here." She said, "Who are you?" And he lifted his weapon and said, "Come here." That was the last thing he got to say, because when he brought that weapon up, she shot him 3 times. My wife did nothing that no American pioneer woman did not do for her husband when the Indians came. A true red-blooded American lass. We were drugged out. Then, as I'm laying on the ground and the shooting breaks out, and I am helpless to aid her. The Mexicans had brought, along with the FBI and the DEA who was running the operation, the FBI was in charge in Mexico. They brought over 150 soldiers, 3 truckloads of them, and more than a dozen cars. They started filling that house with my wife in it with bullets. And according to Dave Holloway with the Cause Foundation, Kurt Grimes' outfit, over 800 rounds were fired into that house. But my father can defend anyone if he so chooses, and he chose. Well, I lay there at the back of the car, and my little daughter, who's 7, is standing in the front seat, and bullets are flying in every direction. And I say to this American DE agent who has the pistol in my ear, allow me just to crawl forward and yank her to the ground before she's hit by the small arms fire. He said, if you move, I will, expletive deleted, kill you. And so as I lay there praying the strongest prayer I've ever prayed, and saying everything that I could say, and when I finished praying, I said to this DE agent, tell them you're the police, because by now over 700 rounds have been fired. They was working on 800, and nobody's identified themselves. No one said federales, FBI, or DEA. I'll tell you why the DEA was there in a minute. He does tell the FBI agent to yell police. As soon as they yell police, my wife says, I surrender. Because suddenly she realized it was the police. And then the terror began. The worst things always happen after surrender. They took us to the jail, and for 5 days I was handcuffed with my hands behind my back, and they were not released for any reason. And then I was placed on a plane and flown to the United States to go to Fort Smith. And for 13 days my wife stayed down there and was beat. She was tortured and asked and told and they attempted to make her sign a confession. The FBI, in order to get the Mexicans to come after me, had to tell them I was wanted for drugs. That's why they brought the DEA agent. You see, Mexico will not allow anyone to be deported from their country for a political crime, which is what I was wanted for. So the FBI brought the DEA. Now, the head of the federales in Mexico, in Guadalajara, ran all the drugs in that part of Mexico. So that put me in direct competition with him. And so they beat her, and they asked for a confession. And my wife, who was a Baptist Sunday school teacher before Yahweh blessed me and allowed me to meet her and marry her, would not lie. And all of this time, she had her handcuffs on and her hands behind her back. And you men, unless you've experienced that, I didn't think I would make it to 5 days. You can't imagine how the pain goes through your arms, through your muscles. And to think of that frail, small woman. For 13 days, they kept her handcuffed. She's a lady. And for 13 days, they worked on her. And she never signed the confession, but she sang praises to Yahweh. She sung them in the morning, she sung them at day, and she sung them at night. For as you see, though she is weak, he is strong. I went to Fort Smith and I was tried. And while I was awaiting that trial, I saw a miracle. Now, I know you hear a lot about miracles, everybody. I've only seen one in my life that I've actually participated in. And that's the one I'm going to tell you about. And I know it's true. On Saturday night, we got down. I was in jail. And we had a national prayer chain. Peters, churches all over, people who love our Father and His Word, got down on their knees and started praying for Sheila to be released. Now understand, the Mexicans had said, you're going to do 40 years. You shot a Mexican federal police officer. And they said, when you get out, we're going to mangle you. The FBI offered me a golf course country club low-level security prison if I would turn on Pastor Butler and Bob Miles. And they offered me my wife. Just as her, I said no. But I still believe in those concepts of honor, duty, loyalty, and courage. So we prayed on Saturday night. Saturday night we prayed, I in my jail cell, others in their homes. Monday morning my wife was taken before a Mexican federal judge. And when he heard her story, he ordered her release and sent home to her mother and daddy. That's a miracle. That's a real one. And I took part in it, and some of you did. So, you can't tell me there are not miracles. There are. Since that time, I've remained in a small community in Texas, raising black-eyed peas and brown-headed kids. Until, that is, I heard about Randy Weaver. Having experienced the terror myself, I could not help but come to do what I could do. When federal terrorists masquerading as officers attacked the Weaver family, they committed a crime against each and every one of us. Brutal men, hidden from the view of concerned citizens behind their barricades and bulletproof vests, committed crimes more heinous and brutal than beast. The attack on the Weaver family by federal assassins was an attack upon every family in the United States. This time the Federals came for Randy Weaver. Next time they may come for you. So I went, because they may also come again for me. For if that small family, far distant and remote from the corruption that is Washington, D.C., is not safe, then none of us are. If federal terrorism goes unchallenged, then no one in this nation is safe. Government terrorism, if ignored, does not go away, but gets worse. Like a lion having tasted the blood of human victims, they will come for more new victims. Federal terrorists are no longer content to hide in the school book depositories in Dallas, Texas, where presidents are their victims. Now they hide behind barricades and bulletproof vests, and the little people of this nation are their victims. Little people like Samuel Weaver. And whether the victim of a political assassination is a president of the United States, or a mother with a baby in her arms nursing the breast, the act is just as vile, just as terrible, just as criminal, and equally heartbreaking to the family members. You know, it has become very politically correct in this country to apply labels to everyone. We have, though, in the Weaver case, a perfect opportunity for good men of all beliefs to come together. Just what has happened here. Before this event, many of us would not have been seen in the same room with others. But something has changed. Something has changed. For no matter your race, your creed, or your color, religious freedom, political freedom, the right of free association, these are the very bedrocks of American constitutional government, and they mean something to all of us. And we shall not allow the FBI to take them from us. It is hard for you and I to understand how the government could, with cold-blooded malice, shoot a mother with a baby in her arms. Yet we must remember the lessons of history. The government that killed Vicki Weaver is the same government that in World War II's ending left 44,000 American POWs in Russian hands to die in Siberian prison camps. The government that killed Samuel Weaver is the same government that at the end of the Korean War left 7,800 of our brethren in North Korean prison camps. The government that killed Samuel and Vicki Weaver is the same government that left 2,650 young men in the jungles of Vietnam in bamboo cages where tonight they are. Killing Vicki and Samuel means nothing to such a government. And just as I know that evil men ruled at Ruby Creek, I also know and do feel certain that there were some good men among the Federals. Because I know as a former soldier in Vietnam that sometimes we have to take orders that we know in our hearts are not right. I appeal to those good men, if they were there, who were on the other side of the barricade, to come forward with the truth. We know from our history books and from the lessons learned from World War II that obeying orders is no defense for injustice. The Nuremberg War Crimes trials forever removed the excuse of I was just obeying orders. To those of you who were among the Federals at Ruby Creek, at the massacre there, we, the people of this country, your people, appeal to you to come forward and assist us in this quest for justice. For you had better remember that police-state tyranny does not just roll over the people, but over the police also. The government can take no rights from us that they cannot take from the police, and they will. Come forward. Come forward while there is time. There will be an accounting. My Father will see to it. And there are men about the Father's business. Randy Weaver's baby cries out for its mama. We the people cry out for justice. Randy Weaver's baby cries out for its mama. We cry out for the truth. The cries of baby Elishaba will forever go unanswered. But in the name of all that's holy, all that's good, and all that is just in this country, you will answer for your crimes. Our cry for justice will not be ignored. But unlike Vicki Weaver, who can no longer press her baby to her breast, and then we no longer can hear the plaintive cries of her infant, we the people can hear. We the people can love and by our compassion take this precious child's small, faint cries to our heart and magnify them until the cry for justice is heard from one side of this land to the other. Let those who are honest and good in this country join with us. Let those who harbor secret crimes in their heart and who wish to shield the guilty scurry for the holes of darkness from which you have come. For we bring light, we bear the torch of light, of justice, of liberty, and we will be heard. We will not yield this country to the forces of darkness, oppression, and tyranny. So if you believe in truth, if you believe in liberty, if you believe in justice, then join with us. The Federals have, by the murder of Samuel and Vicki Weaver, brought all of us here together under the same roof for the same reason. For the first time in the 22 years that I have been in the movement, we are all marching to the beat of the same drum. The beat of that drum, like those heard at Valley Forge and at Gettysburg, have called good men everywhere to action. The only question that we must answer is, was it right to go up on the mountain and kill Vicki and Samuel Weaver, or was it wrong? And if you think it was right, then you write me a letter and I'll send you an application for the Federal Marshal Service, because they're going to need lots more like you in the days to come. Lots. If, however, you think it was wrong, then you are not only in the right place at the right time, but further, you are required to act. For the man that holds beliefs and does not act upon them is a far more miserable creature than the man who holds no beliefs at all. It is not enough to believe that something is right or that something is wrong. You must commit your life to fighting for that which is right and opposing that which is wrong. We are here on this earth to do our Savior's business, and as we are commanded, and we must resist this evil. The two murders of the Weaver family have shown all of us that our religious, our political, our ideological differences mean nothing to those who wish to make us all slaves. We are viewed by the government as the same enemies of the state. When they come for you, the Federals will not ask if you are a Constitutionalist, a Baptist, Church of Christ, Identity, Covenant believer, Klansman, Nazi, homeschooler, Freeman, New Testament believer, fundamentalist, or feast keeper. Nor will they ask whether you believe in the rapture or think it is poppycock. Those who wear badges, black boots, and carry automatic weapons and kick in doors already know all they need to know about you. You are enemies of the state. When the Federals get ready for you, it will not matter whether you urge to those around you to obey all of the laws of the government, or only to obey those laws that are in keeping with our Heavenly Father's divine plan. For they already know all they need to know about you. You are an enemy of the state. Whether they come, when they come, and when you hear the sound of breaking glass, of splintering wood, and of the screams of terror of your family members, it will not matter whether you preach resistance to tyranny or pacifism to one person or 1,001. You are an enemy of the state. When they come, men, it will not matter that you are a family man. with wife and child, for the blood of your precious little ones will soak in the ground just as well as Samuel Weaver's. The brain matter of the one you call wife will splatter and cover up that porch just as quickly as Miss Weaver's. If the Federals so desire, for you are an enemy of the state. When we talk of the Weavers, we think of people we don't know, for most of us don't know them. So close your eyes, go home, and look at your wife there, and look at your children there. Now think about your child having its back blown in two, and look at your wife there on the front porch, and can you see her brain splattered all over the porch, on the wall and the window? Now it's not so distant, it's not so far away. It touches home. Do my words shock or alarm you? Why should they? And this is your country, your government, your police state. America, love it or die. Those in government who have labored over the years to build the road that leads to a new world order at this time are beside themselves with joy, excitement, and anticipation, for they are almost there, but a short distance remains, and their objective will have been reached. But those last few miles will be rough ones. For in the name of Yahweh El Elyon, the Most High, we pledge that those last few miles will not just be paved with the bones, blood, and broken hearts of patriots, but we will pave that road with tyrants' blood, tyrants' bones, and you shall know the broken heart. We, like political environmentalists, have opposed the construction of that great work, the New World Order. And by so doing, we each became enemies of the state. We claimed the New World Order would lead to disorder and destruction. They claim we are enemies of progress and of the state. We claim the New World Order is anti-Christian, anti-Christ, and satanic. They claim we are religious fanatics and enemies of the state. We claim that the world order means an end to the Constitution and freedom. They say we are radicals and enemies of the state. Let there be no mistake about it, no doubt in anyone's mind. Both sides are right in their claims. And both sides will be required to act upon their beliefs. The federal government in North Idaho has demonstrated brutally, horribly, and with great terror how it will enforce its claim. Each of you must now determine how you will enforce yours. The Weaver family was not the first government victim of terrorism in this country, nor will they be the last, to experience the tender mercies of a government gone mad. I warn you calmly, coldly, and without reservation, that over the next 10 years, you will come to hate government more than anything else in your life. The difference you now perceive between you and you will come to mean nothing. Nothing at all. You will forget those differences, not because you chose to, but because you were forced to. For the same government will hunt both of you relentlessly. For you are both enemies of the state. Were it possible to bring back the dead to life, you could ask 30 million Russian people what it's like to be terrorized and enslaved by one's own government. But you cannot, for their ears do not hear, their lips do not speak, for they were enemies of the state. Can such terror happen here in America? We ask that question in disbelief and in doubt. Are there really men in America as evil, corrupt, and criminal as those who once resided in the Kremlin? Were it possible to raise the dead, you could ask Vicky and Samuel Weaver that question, but it's not possible, so you must answer the question. I have been asked by many, what was the real reason the state went after Randy Weaver? No one believes it was 1/4 inch of a shotgun barrel. Not the 500 troops that were up on the mountain. Not the people that were down at the barricade. Or it was not. Randy Weaver was a political and religious heretic. He chose not to obey the state, but rather to obey his conscience, based upon his understanding of the Bible. Had he lived just a few hundred years ago, he would have been burned at the stake. But this is America, 1992. Times and methods have changed, but the results are the same. For men have not changed. You must understand that we are the new heretics. And if we remain quiet, and if we fail to resist, our fate will be the same. The Federals went after Randy Weaver as an object lesson to each of us here. That lesson being, oppose the government and you and your family will suffer. Of course, we as Christian patriots have no choice in the matter. For if we do not oppose the government now while we still can, when we no longer have the means to resist, we will suffer more. For it is the enemies of Christ that we wage our struggle against. And there are no bounds to their evil. There are no limits to their lust for power. No limits except those you impose. The solution then lies with you and people like you. For we must in one voice cry out that we will not tolerate their stinking, murdering, lying, corrupt government. It is because we still have remaining freedoms that we're allowed to gather here tonight. The ghost of the Constitution, even in its most emasculated form, still provides us with more freedom than many people in other parts of the world. Yet, you must understand that there are those in positions of authority and power here in this country that would take your remaining freedoms from you in a heartbeat if they could. It is only by eternal diligence and the patriot's blood that the tree of liberty spreads its arms over each of us. But we must be honest with ourselves, men. It was not our blood that gave us these freedoms we enjoy tonight, but the blood, sacrifice, and tears of those who trod this land before us. We're only allowed to be here tonight because others who came before us died to give us that right. And if you think that this generation of men will maintain its present freedoms without also having to fertilize the tree of liberty with the blood of both patriot and tyrant, then you are mistaken. This flag is our flag. It's not the government's. The red that you see on this flag stands for the blood of those that came before you. And oh, if it could but speak, tales it would tell. The suffering, the pain, the misery that men gave on its behalf. The wives left husbandless. The sons and daughters who never again called upon their father's lap. The tears shed in the lonely part of the night by wives. Oh, if it could but talk. If liberty and freedom is preserved in this land, there will be new stories, and a darker red will yet stain that flag. If we maintain our freedom and our liberty, it is not because good men in Washington, D.C. will give it to us, but rather because we are ready, able, and willing to do whatever is necessary to preserve the flag and to preserve our liberty and freedom. I am not here to urge you to arms, nor do I urge you to harm a single living person on the face of this earth. However, I remain firmly convinced that my children and your children have a right to a place under the sun where they can be free, secure, and happy, to enjoy the liberty that our forefathers bought with their life's blood. And any man who would deny my children or your children this place under the sun becomes my most bitter enemy. I care not who he works for, what God he may worship, how great or little his knowledge, nor do I care how many badges and how many guns he totes. For as long as I draw breath into this frail body of mine, I will resist unto death those who would destroy the life of my people and my children. I cannot compromise with such men, for they are men without principle. I cannot reason with such men. They are men without reason. But I can warn them. And it is a warning they must take to heart. For I and many others in this country, many in this room tonight, will not roll over and play dead for your new world order, be it old or be it new. on this flag will not fade, nor will the tree of liberty wither and turn to dust, because I feared to give my life's blood for its sake. And I fervently pray that you too will love enough that your offering will not be wanting. For in the final analysis, no greater love has any man than the man who lays down his life for another. Men, in the name of our Father, we are called upon to make a decision that you will make in the quietness of your heart in the still places of the night. As you lay on your bed and you look up at the ceiling tonight, you must answer the question, will it be liberty or will it be death? As for me, give me liberty or give me death. Thank you.